Studying the holy words of Rav Shimshon Pincus. May his great honor and memory and merit be upon us. So this week, again, long Parashat, not as long as last week, but still a long one, has one of the most interesting and wondrous laws about the Passover sacrifice. Something so unique, we don't even find it by this concept by any other commandment. And that is, by all mitzvot, all commandments, any form of service, sacrifice, prayer, etc., there's a rule. It goes as follows. I'll say it in Hebrew. Avar zmano batel korbano. You miss the time, it's over. You can't do it anymore. The afternoon sacrifice has to be done before sundown. Right now, we're, almost half an hour past sundown. You can't bring the korban. That's it. It's over. There's specific times for certain mitzvot. You miss Zman Kriyat Shema. Okay, you read it just to make yourself feel good as Divrei Torah, but you missed it. There's no way to make up for it, really. You missed the plane. You missed the plane. You're going to have to go through shenanigans to find a new plane. It's another story. It's over. However, this week the Torah tells us that the Passover sacrifice is different. There is a makeup for it, for those who missed it. Example of someone traveling or someone who is tameh, impure. Second opportunity a month later. On the 14th of Iyar. On the 14th of Iyar, one was able to bring the second Passover sacrifice called Pesach Sheni. Where do we know this from? Where do we know that there's even this option of bringing a Pesach Sheni? So this week's Parsha, let me share two verses with you. I think I pulled them up. Deuteronomy chapter 9, verses 6 and 7. Look at this. There were men who were ritually unclean because of contact with a dead person. And therefore were not able to make the Passover sacrifice on the proper day. And they approached Moshe and Aaron on that day. Next verse, and these men told them, we were ritually unclean because we came into contact with a dead body. Why should we be excluded from bringing the offering of the Lord at this appointed time with the rest of Bnei Israel? They were saying it's not fair. 10 days after Hashem gave Bnei Israel the very first commandment, the commandment of Kiddush Lavana, sanctifying the new moon, he then commanded Bnei Israel to take a lamb and prepare to bring it on the 14th of Nisan as a Korban Pesach. So there were those, as we just read, some say it was Elazar and Itamar, others say it was those who were carrying the bones of Yosef, but they were impure. They came into contact with dead body. They claim they can't bring the sacrifice. Moshe didn't know what to do, so he waited a response from Hashem. And Hashem told him, good, they're given a second chance, that second date, a month later, Pesach Sheni. Rav Pincus says, from the mitzvah of Pesach Sheni, the Torah is teaching us an amazing life lesson in Torah and self-growth. It happens quite often that a person, maybe they didn't have the opportunity, for many reasons, to be raised in a Torah home or environment or school, or attend Jewish or even religious schools, and therefore not privy to being accustomed to the way of life of Torah. if such a person is exposed one day to authentic Torah, they have the right to say, why should I be left out? Why should I be left out of this meaningful life? I want part of it, just like so many others. And if he or she goes through and puts the necessary effort into doing it, to working hard, into learning, they can now reach those high levels. That is the merit of Pesach Sheni, a second chance. We shouldn't take for granted that the Talmud and so many other of our sages make a big deal of the famous story of Rabbi Akiva, who until the age of 40, we know this all from young kids, from the age of 40, he was ignorant as ever, and then he started learning Aleph Beis. And then when he finally committed himself to learning Torah, he was able to be in such a difficult position, he couldn't even support his wife. And then his wife pushed him to go learn and really, really become a Talmid Chacham and the leader of the generation. He wanted to be a true Torah scholar. He put 100% of his efforts in it, and he became the leader of the generation. It's never too late, is the message of Pesach Sheni. It's never too late to start learning. It's never too late to pick up a new book, to start learning something new. The Chazon, the Chazon Ish writes that people who are already older and they've never learned Torah feel a sense of they're excused because it's not their fault. They grew up without Torah. Chazon Ish says it's not a good answer. It's not a good excuse because it's never too late. It's never too late to learn. It's never too late to listen online. It's never too late to hire a tutor. How many people do we know? Fortunately, not too many, meaning percentage-wise, not too many, but thank God there are plenty. People who, when they're retired, you know what they do? They spend most of their day at shul and learning. And they're like, man, I wish I could have done this earlier in life. So, Baruch Hashem, they have it made for them. They worked an entire career. They're able to support themselves. They spend some of the time with their kids and grandchildren, mostly grandchildren, spoil them a little. And the rest of the time, they're able to read, to learn, to go to shul. That's the life. You live in Florida, you golf once in a while. You go on some walks with the palm tree surroundings and the lakes. But at least they're learning. It can be done. Rav Pincus says someone who feels like they're so far and it's too late to grow or to start shouldn't think that way. Because the power of a Jew is to do. It's to learn new things. It's to grow in amazing ways. And this goes true for someone who can't read Hebrew, can't understand Hebrew, cannot understand the prayer, can't understand Torah, can't understand Mishnah, Gemara, whatever it may be, fulfilling the mitzvot, reasons for mitzvot, whatever it may be. It's never too late. We learn this from the individuals who came to Moshe Rabbeinu, who asked for a second chance. Hashem always gives a second chance. We learn this from Rabbi Akiva on how badly do you want to understand Hebrew? How badly do you want to understand Torah? How badly do you want to understand Gemara so you could share that with your children and your grandchildren? I've said this story before. I'll say it again because it's amazing. There was a woman who was born in Philadelphia. Her name was Bessie Shane. And she was born in a completely unaffiliated Jewish family. And at 90 years old, her grandson, Michael, who's married to Tzipora, who they both live in in Hollywood, who came from a traditional home, started to live a life more committed to Torah and mitzvot. So the young couple had a great relationship with Grandma Bessie, and they started teaching her a little bit. At the age of 90 years old, she started changing her ways. 90 years old. It's 1996. She started keeping kosher at 90 years old. She started lighting Shabbat candles at 90 years old. She adopted a new name, Batya, not Bessie anymore. And in 2012, so that would make her 106 years old, she passed away. She lived 16 years of her life. I'm further away than you from 90. But in my mind, anyone who's 90 just has so much experience in the way that their life is. We know 30, 40, 50-year-olds that can't change. Never mind 60, 70-year-olds. 90-year-olds? She changed. She's a story, a living proof in our lifetime of it's never too late to change. Habits are hard to break. We just need to form new habits, better habits. Hashem always gives us another chance. So we have to give ourselves another chance. Of course, we've spoken about how we have to give others another chance, but you even have to give yourself another chance, because if Hashem gives you another chance, you should believe in that second chance. So we learned from these people who came to Moshe Rabbeinu for Pesach Sheni. We learned from Rabbi Akiva, and we learned from Grandma Bessie Shane, born in 1906, lived till 106. 90 years old, starts changing. It's never too late. Whether it's Rabbi Akiva at 40 years old, whether it's Grandma Betsy at 90 years old. We can change. We can make it meaningful. Small changes replace bad habits with good habits. That's B'ezrat Hashem the way. That's an amazing lesson that we can all think of, that Pesach Sheni teaches us.